Hey, Boy Manning here from Fenway Park, where the Red Sox lose 2-1 to the Athletics in the series opener here. What could end up being a pretty consequential loss in the Sox playoff hopes, standings, etc. We'll get to that, but a ton to talk about from this game. We'll start with the good. Connelly Early, second career start. Outstanding in this one. 5.1 innings pitched. 8 more strikeouts, or 7 rather, after the 11 in the debut. And no runs allowed until Greg Weissert came in and led inherited runner score. So 1 earned run in the end for Early, who goes 80 pitches. Was cruising along for a while there, striking out guys left and right, an impressive one in a 3-2 count, along, I believe, 9 pitch at bat in that one. Working about 93, 94 miles an hour, so not blowing guys away, just in control, 3 to 4 pitches, off-speed stuff, outstanding, through the changeup a little more in this one. And again, just his second career start against an Athletics team that saw him a week ago. So there was concern coming into this one. Sox named him the starter, put Kyle Harrison as well as Peyton Tolley into the bullpen. Thought you might have to see them in this one. You don't. He goes 5.1 strong and puts the Sox in a great position to win this one. Now, the offense the whole way through only gets him 1 run, so he's working in a tight spot there into the 6th inning. Gives up a single, able to get a strikeout, so in a decent position to begin that 6th inning. And Cora, before this game, said he could go 90, 95 pitches, no concern about workload, fully going into this game with the ability to make a complete start. And so at that point, Cora comes out of the dugout with a couple righties set to face Early, and made what I thought at that moment was a tough decision to pull Early from this game. Here's Cora explaining it after.
That pitch, 3-2 pitch right in the middle. He was trying to go up in the zone, didn't get it there, and 3-2, 2 outs. The kid was moving at first, hits it off the wall, they score. And then I think it was a slider. I don't know where it was in the zone from from where I was, but in that spot, that was his pocket right there. The kid did an amazing job. They had some tough righties coming up, and we just have to close the deal.
That spot, is it more about matchup or pitch count?
It's about the guy that is hitting.
So you came in tonight with Early on like a hard limit of 21 batters. Didn't want him to see Rooker the third time, or?
No, the game will dictate what we do. That's a good big leaguer that hits lefties really well, and the other guys have to do his job.
So he could go longer there if it wasn't the matchup.
Yep.
80 pitches tonight. What were your expectations heading in when it came to workload, any limits, anything like that?
Not too sure. I think pretty sure I was pulled right before Rooker came up. I think we just Weisert's a really good matchup against him, so that's why we went with that. And I struggled a little bit against him the first time, and he saw me pretty well. So I think that's kind of why we went with it.
So as Cora explained there, they pull Early. Greg Weissert comes in, gets a strikeout, so a quick second out in that inning. But then a double, a single, couple batters later after a walk, and they end up scoring 2 runs in that 6th inning, and that ends up being enough to win this game for the Athletics 2-1. I hate the decision there, and I'm a big Cora guy. I've defended him throughout the last handful of years here, throughout much of this season. Maybe a spot decision here, too, that you don't love. But this one almost perfectly reflected the one he made in that Peyton Tolley start, with some key differences. Tolley hadn't gone far into starts in AAA prior to that point, but he was rolling, gives up a couple singles. They pull him, and Weissert comes into that game, too, and gives up the lead. Sox end up losing that game to the Pirates. Weissert comes into this game, again, Early rolling. Just had given up a single, no real damage whatsoever there, and he had worked through base runners in pretty much every inning to start his career. He's now 10 innings into his career, 10 hits allowed and a walk. So he's managed base runners well, even picked off a guy in this game. So I don't understand it. Cora says it's the matchups. You look at how it's lined up so far through the 2 games against Rooker, who he was concerned about, as well as Thomas, who would have been the next batter up in that spot. 2 for 9 for those two combined against Early, 5 strikeouts. And then the batter after that, 0 for 4 against Early. And so when you stack up the numbers for the A's collectively through 2 starts against Early, despite the concerns about seeing him a bunch of times, 250 overall batting average, 10 for 40, 1 walk, 18 strikeouts for Early against this Athletics lineup collectively. I don't know why you don't keep him in the game there. It's numbers over feel in that spot, and it backfires on the Sox, who, again, had put Weissert into a similar spot against the Pirates a couple weeks ago and lost that game as well. The amount of games they've blown this year is starting to rack up, and yes, you can harp on that decision, but you can just as easily look at the offense in this one. 3 for 15 against Spence, the reliever who came in for the Athletics after a shaky start from Springs, who got lit up by the Sox last week. I believe 5 runs in 5 innings. Sox 5 of 17 against him here, 3 walks, so got a ton of runners on base, but they go 0 for 7 in this one with runners in scoring position. That same conversation we've been having over and over again. They got low in there for a pinch hit opportunity. He doesn't come through in that spot. Romy Gonzalez, brutal in this one after a 14-game hit streak. That comes to an end here with an 0 for 5 game. 2 ground into double play situations, the end of the game in the 9th, as well as with a runner in scoring position in the 4th. Eaton gets out with a runner in scoring position in the 3rd. And then in the 2nd inning, they leave the bases loaded. Rafaela, who's struggling mightily, strikes out with 1 out. And then Gonzalez grounds into a double play in that spot as well. So the offense dead in this one again. Only 1 run. Can't get a hit with runners in scoring position. Weissert, the middle relief, a question. So both sides of the ball, issues for the Sox in this one. And it ruins a great night by Early that we should be celebrating, that this whole video should be about here. Get to the standings impact now. As I record this, Houston was up big on Texas. Good in that Texas is going to lose, trailing the Sox in the wild card race, but the Astros are going to pass the Red Sox and move into the 2nd wild card spot by a half game tonight. The Mariners won. They're now a full game over the Red Sox. They're leading the West. So that would be the matchup right now. Red Sox, Mariners in Seattle, all 3 games. Do you feel good about that, going up against Mariners pitching? Probably not. Yankees were barely holding on for their life after leading 10-1. It was 10-8 when I looked at it last. But regardless, that's not what the Sox have to be worrying about right now. They were a game behind the Yankees coming into this one. Game and a half as I record this, could be 2 games if they hold on. So first wild card spot not looking likely right now. It's the Guardians who are on the verge of winning and could move 2 back of Boston that you have to worry about, as well as the Astros who passed the Sox in a game that Boston should have won at home against an Athletics team that they beat up pretty badly last week. So how are you feeling? Let me know in the comments below. Early, a great sign. Could get another start from him here. Giolito and Bayo are going to round out this series, so you'll get more good pitching. But can you hit right now? This runners in scoring position debacle, as well as struggles up and down the lineup. Bregman bad in this one. Gonzalez 0 for 5. Ref Snyder gave them a little something. 3 walks here. Narvaez 1 for 4. Eaton 1 for 4. Sogard drops a ball in this one. Gets picked off to end the 8th inning. Rough game from him. Duran got on base a couple times early, out a couple times late. He had to move down to 8th in the order. And then Rafaela, I love the defense, gets a hit in the 9th inning to break this awful spell he's been on, 2 of 33 to that point over the last handful of games for him going back to August. But he's struggling immensely at the plate right now. And there will come a time into this road trip, I think, that they're going to have to try some other stuff in the outfield, given how poorly he's performing. But maybe that single in the 9th will wake him up. That's all from Fenway. I'm Bobby Manning. Red Sox lose 2-1 to the A's here. We're back tomorrow, 6:45. Giolito on the mound against Sacramento. And we'll have continued coverage here on Red Sox Clubhouse, as well as Red Sox CLNS on Twitter.